Oh, I know that sound. It's time for the Beer and News Report. Hi, and welcome to the Beer and News Report. Cheers. I know, it's been a long time. The problem is, when the holidays get here, it's hard to get out of holiday mode. So I really don't have a good reason why I haven't put out a show, other than the fact that I've been really, really lazy. All right, it's 2025, and back in 2024, I made a switch. I put the naming of my beer at the end of the show instead of the beginning. Well, one of my viewers said, hey, I don't like that. I want to know what you're drinking at the beginning of the show. And since nobody else complained or said, hey, no, I want you to keep it at the end of the show, I'm now moving it back to the beginning of the show. So with that being said, I am drinking Summer Kickback by Farmers Brewery. This beer is your regular lager, but has a touch of lemon zest in it. And that really makes it delicious. I'm telling you, even though it's currently winter, this beer is great, and I'm sure it'd be fantastic on a hot summer day. So I recommend you give it a try. Cheers. Are you thinking of moving? Maybe you're from California and you want to get to a cheaper state to live. States like Texas or Florida or even Arizona come to mind. But is that really the best place to move? Well, that's going to be the topic of today's show. Where is the best place in the U.S. to live? And I want to give a shout out to my cousin Debbie. She's the one that, well, I had studied about this, but she also kind of brought it up. And we've been going back and forth. And so, Debbie, thank you. And let's grab a beer and a map or an atlas of the U.S. and, start the show. Cheers. There's one caveat to this show about this topic, and that is I'm assuming that wherever you move, you're going to be there for, 30, 40, or even 50 years. If you're the type of person that jumps from city to city or state to state or even country to country because of your job, this show really doesn't apply to you because you're not there long enough. All right? Good. So I was surfing the internet on YouTube, and I came across a couple of shows that talk about where to live in the future and what to expect from climate change. And they said that people are making a mistake now because they're currently moving to the south of the U.S. And because of climate change, it's going to make it unbearable to live there. Their estimates was about 2050. So it's getting bad now, but it's just going to get worse. And this kind of makes sense because I was watching the news and it said like Phoenix, Arizona recently broke a record of having temperature of 100 plus degrees for over 100 days straight. I mean, isn't that crazy? I got a friend there. His name is Steve. Steve, I hope you're liking it there. Cheers. Okay, first let's see where the people are leaving. These are the top 5 metro areas people are leaving, mainly from the north in California. Hey, look, San Francisco's in that area. That's where I approximately live. All right, now let's move on to where people are moving to. And as you can see from this chart, it's mainly they're moving to the south. So why is that, and is it a good thing? Well, I'm going to show you a number of slides. Let's start with this one, which is on heat waves. This map shows the places in the U.S. that have at least 25 days over 100 degrees. And the darker the area, the worse it is. It's mainly Texas, Florida, and Arizona. Here's a few cities to give you some reference. I don't know why they didn't show any in Texas. I need a beer, right? Yeah, cheers. Similar to heat waves is drought. This map shows where the average precipitation is decreasing. The darker the color, the worse it is. So if you're getting less rain, what's that gonna cause? You guessed it, wildfires. This shows you where the likelihood of wildfires will occur by 2050. Obviously, the mountainous areas have huge groves of forests, but even Texas and Florida are prone to wildfires. So now, what is the opposite of drought? Well, that's increased rainfall, which this map shows. And just as drought increases the chance of wildfires, what would rainfall increase the chance of? Well, you guessed it, flooding. Now, they didn't have a map of where to predict an increase in tornadoes, but I'm going to say that if there's an increase in rainstorms, most likely there's going to be an increase in tornadoes. Now, this slide shows where the states they get the most hurricanes. They didn't predict how many hurricanes would happen in 2050, but they said that there would be more of them and they would be bigger. Now let's overlay all the conditions on one map. The darker the color, the worse it will be to live there. The area that's outlined in red is predicted to be the riskiest place to live in the future. And now let's add some cities on this show where people are leaving, which is the red cities, and where people are moving to, that's the blue cities. And just to make it easier, this is a more visual color-coded map with the risky areas outlined. Now, according to their calculations, Beaufort County, South Carolina will be the riskiest place to live in the future. And again, that's roughly 2050. So where is the best place to live?
So what did they find? The top 30 least risky counties were found in the Northwest, Michigan, Colorado, Virginia, and a high concentration in the Northeast. And the one they rated as the least risky, Lamoille County in Vermont. We reached out to Lamoille County and asked them how aware they are of their position as a potential climate haven and how prepared they feel for an influx of climate refugees.
Well, we know it's a lovely place already. So the county as a whole, we've got somewhat less than 30,000 people. The commercial center is probably the town of Morrisville, but again, that's less than 10,000 people. So we talk about climate migration a great deal in Vermont. There's been a number of media stories about people moving to Vermont to escape extreme weather on the coast or western wildfires.
All right, Vermont, way to take control of your future, huh? Cheers. Well, it's a short show. My beer's almost empty. So that means we're at the end of the show. If you want to contact me, I can be reached at this email address. If you had a good time watching the show, please click that like button. And of course, if you want to get notified of new shows, click that subscription button and the little bell icon next to it. That'll tell you when a new show's appeared, right? Till then, keep your beer cold and your interest hot. Cheers.